grandmothers throughout the ages are burning in eternal hellfire because they did not use the name Yeshua or Yahashua, Yahweh, Yahweh. Which one? Which one is it? And then, of course, our people perish for lack of academic and scholastic knowledge. So therefore, our people are saved by academic and scholastic knowledge. Bill Cosby, going to college and going to the university will bring you the salvation as a black man, as a black nation, that we have sorely needed for so long in the tradition of W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington, Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays. This is the key to salvation. Frederick Douglass. What you know. Because, yes, that's what it's about. It's about what you know. Because you begin to slip into intellectualism, egotism, pride, denial, self-importance. Because it's not only you big up in yourself subconsciously about what you know and what you finally learned, and I'm going to give you your props for that if you hold on a second after I put the whoop down first. And then I'm going to be nice. No, I'm being nice now, because this is something quite honestly, that jammed me up for years. It jammed me up for years because I wanted the truth of the Lord to tickle my ears. I wanted it to be reasonable. It's reasonable, to say, well, you know what? This whole thing, the whole predicament and conundrum that mankind is in, nevertheless, the black community, which may be in deeper degrees of different things mankind in general is in, for whatever reason. But we've been taught to believe that it's by being dumb that you are in a bad way that you in, perhaps. Or because you've not garnered enough official and approved, authorized education. That's why you're in the position that you're in. All you had to do was continue to learn the things that scholastics and academics want us all to know. You don't know no secret. You read something in a book that millions of other people read. So therefore, the key to salvation by that demonstration would be a wide path. It's a wide path. Lots of people can pick up a book and learn a thing. And unfortunately, that's why most people have some confusion concerning religious things or spiritual things. It's because 9 times out of 10, when they first had a question, they went to the authorities. They went to the experts. They went to the theologians. They went to those who wrote certain books, and you could find the books in Truth Bookstore or whatever Bible bookstore you like to frequent. And so instead of, and again, this was allotted. I'm not trying to condemn that practice. It was allowed and allotted. The Most High allowed for us to go down through that road because we needed to feel something. And that something was that we weren't dumb. And we are not in the position that we're in because of some eugenic-based belief that there's something wrong with us. And so we have to learn the way of this culture. We have to be civilized by the uncivilized. I'm talking about the scholars and the academics and the teachers and the professors and the preachers of this world, who by and large belong to Masonic orders. They write what's in the books that becomes known as the official word. That official word gets passed down and passed around throughout the university and collegiate circuit. Throughout that circuit, this official word is taught and received by the public at large, not just the student body, as the truth. That's right, even folks who did not go to school will be fooled by putting more props and more belief in something if it says, well, you know, a professor such and such from the university of this came up with this theory and wrote this book or wrote this article. And that's where we get all of the things now. When I say we as young believers who want to look into these things and figure out, well, where's this Illuminati stuff at in this religion thing? Because that's important and that's key. And you keep hearing so many of your peers who have had their ears tickled say they're not messing with religion. They're not messing with God. You know, they certainly not messing with religion in the way, shape, or form that it was taught to their elders. I find that interesting. You find less and less people who want to believe like the old school believe. We're looking for some new way to believe. And I understand it, because some of what we're going to do is going to break new ground and not be overstood by the old school, by the elders. That's what always happens. You know, you can find that in anything, in sports, music, you know, wherever there's a revolving door of, youth coming in to help refresh what the elders are doing. And, you know, that's a good thing. You know, you should find a nice blend, and you should find where one wants to learn from the other. But what we should not throw aside, because of our newfound pride and our newfound intellectualism and, you know, our ability to, you know, we are so much colder because we can say Yeshua. My grandma couldn't pronounce them type words. Okay? But she and millions of other grandmothers have received the grace and the mercy of the true and living God. The Messiah says, who is my mother and who is my brother but those that do the will of my Father? Not who is my mother and who is my brother but those who speak little Hebrew. Not who is my mother, who is my father, but those that know Aramaic. The language that you speak is the language that you learn in. It's not by language that you receive salvation. Although we do a lot to overstand the curse of the spelling words that we use. But again, that's to bring awareness. And once you are aware, the power of that curse is broken. Because the curse, the spell, is a lack of knowledge. So you become aware of something, you no longer lack knowledge in it. But it's not about lack of general knowledge or lack of academic knowledge, because if you know things by experience, you can see by experience, a lot of folks go to school and they get twisted up. More so, believing children enter college, and statistics show that more than 3/4 of them who entered college as believers leave as non-believers. Now, that's a cold piece. But that says something about this entire agenda and why I believe they lied about all of that. Who sees the Messiah as a pig? Who would want to call him that? The fallen angels. The fallen angels has, from the very beginning, the fallen angels set up a preemptive strike. meaning they set things in motion in the beginning because they knew we would end up winning. They knew that we would be here now. At this point of debate, they knew we would have the internet. How do they know? Because they helped to move all these things in this direction. And so they knew that we would come to this point in time where mankind could look back as if he had a time machine, with ease through history. You look back through history, sometimes just reading a history book. But on the internet, you can really take that to the next level, can't you? You can see all sorts of slanders of the Messiah. We can read more slander about the Messiah and King James now in the devil's world than we ever could. You forget that the devil is the prince of this world. You forget that you are not to trust in the horses and the chariots or in your knowledge like the Egyptians did. This is a thing that you must learn by experience. It's what the Most High showed me. A full-blown commission who said all the textbook things that y'all say now, it trips me out that the game don't change. And it really makes me ashamed that I was in a game. Or got a game ran on me like that. But it's a young man's game. It's a game to get ran on a young man, on a young person, on somebody whose ego and need to feel proud or be exalted is a little more susceptible to this type of attack. Can we say that? When you're younger, they can hit you by snow jobbing you a little bit better. It's a snow job, the same way the Professor X hat cats get up there and snow job you and tell you how great you was, and you built Egypt and you built the pyramids, and you need to get your magic back. So in hindsight, it was goofy of me to believe that I could learn about the mysteries of the Most High God by picking up the books or reading the studies of men who are undeniably tied to the brotherhood or to the Zionist agenda on one level or the other. When you're not talking about things that deal with Hebrew in origin, then you're talking about the scholastics, who are the professors and the scholars who write the books and break down the words and who teach us all sorts of things about history. And unfortunately, those individuals overwhelmingly belong to some fraternal order. They joined while they were in college. Okay? So they came to the brotherhood seeking knowledge that they would not learn up in the college. They wouldn't teach them certain things up in the college. You can get so far in the fraternities in college. Then you jump to the brotherhood, the masonry. Now, all this time, there is a spirit that's able to work through you. So as you're researching or doing your work in academic fields, you're also being penetrated by electromagnetic fields. And demons are able to influence your work because you're not in alignment with the true and living God. Well, how can you say that all of the teachers and all the professors and all the scholars? Did I say that? How can you say that of all the singers and of all the musicians and of all the actors and of all the entertainers? Because we know that it's the majority of them, and it's all of the ones who make a difference in their field. That's what. Your cousin that's got a record out ain't involved in it. They have no influence. Okay, so your uncle that's a professor ain't involved in it. He ain't got no influence. Okay, he's not involved in it on one level. But at the end of the day, they are all being controlled by the devil, and they are all being puppeted by the devil, who set up these institutions, not only from the college level, but let's start at the bottom. The public school system was also set up by the Masonic order. It's one of the questions in their book, 1001 Questions to Ask a Mason. Ask Another Brother, that was on the cover. Blue book, small. I had it, y'all. But it was a book that Masons use to test a guy and see if he a Mason. It's 1001 different code questions you can ask him beside the one everybody know. Are you a traveling man? But one of those questions was, who started the public school system? Old schoolers, you've heard that before. We talked about this before. We can chop this up into fine minced pieces. I once believed it myself, but little did I know what I was believing. What I was believing by default was that I could be saved by knowledge. The Luciferian lie all over again. Played on the black intellectual, played on the white intellectual, and played on the common man, played on po folk, on every side. One way or another, they want you, Lucifer wants you to believe that you have saved yourself. Some of the more humble and sincere of you may have it in your conscious mind that, well, no. It was the Lord that led me to the knowledge that I read, that led me to the collegiate books, and that led me to Rabbi such and such teachings, or that led me to Brother Yah such and such's teachings, who happens to have got most of his teachings from some rabbi somewhere. He listen, come on. He didn't just come up with that knowledge from out the air. You know, sometimes brothers try to do that too in this game. Everything you learning is something you read. Tell the truth. No one has come to me and told me that by their experience, Yeshua binds up demons, casts them out, and heals the sick. I've experienced this, people. I experienced this daily. And because I'm human, every now and then I test it out. Oh, ye of little faith. Yeah, that's right. I'm human. Pray for me, y'all. So I'll never test it out no more. Because that's 2 or 3 seconds worth of time wasted. And time is short and of the essence. And most valuable now. But every now and then I will throw in, I said, well, in the authority of the name of Yahweh Shah, or Yahshua. And those of you who propose Yeshua or Yahusha or Yahuwah or whatever, you not understanding basic things about etymology to try to tell somebody else something about a spelling of a word. Jesus. Do you know what a U and a W and a V are? First of all, one but one at first, and it was a V. Etymology proves this. French viewers can prove this. French viewers, or my Canadian brothers and sisters of the bilingual variety, please let it be known. What is W in French? Now remember, we have the degraded Latin-derived language here. We have the most degraded Latin-derived language because it's filled with spells and curses and witchcraft codes. So it's more freaked out than any of the other ones. And you can find more similarities in French and Spanish and Italian because those languages are more like Latin. This language got a lot that, comes directly from Latin, but from every other culture that had magic words and spell words. But W, in French is double V because it's not a W, it is a double V. You put 2 V's together, and only from cursive did you get anything that looked like 2 U's together. The cursive double U looks like 2 U's. And that was supposed to come from scribes writing in haste, they said. Haste makes waste. Perhaps they were writing in fear, and fear is not of God. But you had this double U in Spanish. Come on, mi hermanos. In Spanish, same deal. So then it's supposed to be a V instead of a U. Yeah, but it had the same pronunciation. How do you know? Huh? Yeah, like you got the prophet Jeremiah's first demo tape or something. Back when he was getting produced by the Bomb Squad. Pete Rock. Real Pete Rock. Peter the Rock. No. We have to trust what they say, ladies and gentlemen, on those things. And that's all I am saying. That's all I have to say. At the end of the day, admit to yourself that you're trusting in what they say. All right? Just start there. Start there. And then we can take it to the next level as the Most High True and Living so leads you. Because again, I could only be shown through experience. Some of you may only be able to be shown through experience. And my experience was being thrown into the midst of an experience of having a demonic entity growl at me in quadraphonic stereo surround sound, threaten me, and speak to me directly inside of my head. And I was reading a book at somebody, and this thing manifested out of them. Obviously, the writer was anointed, huh? So Dr. Ken Olson. I don't know what he's doing now, where he at now, if he's been infiltrated or tainted, but this was 2002 or so. I read the book. I don't know if by now the demons have alerted the publishers and they've got the book and twisted it up. I don't know. But that was the book the Lord used to show me what time it was. Because I'm a person who used to teach people all the time, it can't be no Jesus. It ain't no J, wasn't no J sound, wasn't no, as if I was an expert, as if I've been to Israel, as if I've studied this for 50 years. And then even after all of that, as if I could not have been lied to by the rabbinical elite and the Zionist double agents who would have surely been placed around me, guiding me to certain information and away from other information. Because this is the key information. The things involving the Messiah. Which again, you're not supposed to try to believe you can learn about the Most High True Living God from a book like you can learn about Mickey Mouse by reading a Mickey Mouse book. Huh? Or like you can learn how to do the ballroom, perhaps by reading a book, a very well worded book, or watching a video or two, or 200. You have to experience God. You say you know God. The people you know them people. Huh? You know how they smell. You know how they get down. You know the way they communicate. And they know you. And you can hear their voice in a crowded place and know it's them. And if you know one another and are friends, you're going to meet. Even if this is someone who perhaps you haven't seen for some time and their name has slipped your mind for whatever reason. And we as humans have enough sense to do that. I've said this before, but see, this is a concentrated little jam of all what I've said this already. You got this 5 testimony videos. I'll name them off again, but I said this before. My name is Theodore. I don't hear that unless I'm in trouble. Not since my granddaddy passed. But nobody called me that. My mama called me Ted. She said, I didn't want to name you that old long name. That was your granddaddy and your daddy. My granny called me Teddy. Classmates called me Theo. Some of the kids in the neighborhood called me T. I began to rap. I took the name Jack knife. Me and DJ Switchblade. We didn't know no better. To this day, is people call me Jack. And don't call me nothing else. Out and about in Detroit City, I may hear any of these names. And I know the voice of people I know. And I know where they at. I know them. They know me. So when they call, even if they call me something other than Theodore, which is my proper name, I got sense enough to hear them. Hold on, though. Hold on, though. Perhaps you want to be part of something more exclusive. You are. Because still, you got to do the Father's will. That puts you in a very exclusive and small club. Do the Father's will. Operate out of His power, love, and sound mind. Open up the prison to them that are bound, bind up the brokenhearted. Set the captives free. But most importantly, according to Messiah, lay hands on the sick and cause them to recover. Speak in new tongues. Go ahead. But you better be able to bind up and cast out demons in the authority of the power of His name. If you got the power of His name. Testify. By the will of the Creator, I got enough kills. And part of a crew that do too. And I'm telling you now, the challenge has been on the floor for a long time. Show and prove. Don't show and tell, don't talk me to death. If you got kills, show and prove. We can do a live demonstration if you'd like. Prayer versus prayer. Elijah versus Jezebel, as far as I'm concerned. But really, I don't want to debate it any longer. If it makes you uncomfortable, you don't have to, you don't have to put up with it. Okay? But I'm not going to put up with any deliberate attempts to create discord among the brethren. Questions are fine. That's why I took the time with Brother Earl. He asked a question like a man, had a question like I had. Okay? I've been in that seat. Okay? I was the person on the other end of the conversation that we were having, my brother. On your end of the conversation. But with a strong demon over me, I suppose, I could outwill and make him come up off that Jesus. Well, I know Satan was so happy about me. That's why he's so mad now. But, he can stay mad. Scratch his tail and get glad. But all right, you can look at 5 different videos. Love for the non-believer. You can put in, unplug them in these tentative titles, paraphrase titles here, because I wasn't looking back at the list. But the love for the non-believer, testimony of a 720, black Jesus, white Jesus, no Jesus, Jesus or Yeshua, what is the name, and the name above. Okay, and share with folks how you know what you know. Okay, you know how people like to keep the secret to their success like it's some kind of secret, like. All of a sudden, somebody that you used to consider bummy is all clean and sunny and passing out money. But they keeping it vague, how they doing so much better now, all of a sudden. Almost as if they want you to think that they selling dope or doing something mysterious. They probably getting a check. Well, that's how black intellectualism and elitism can work, either on children of Israel or Ishmael. You feel empowered now. You feel so fresh and so clean now. And you don't want to admit now where you got this newfound gain. You got it from the scholars of Babylon, of New Babylon, as we all do. And I ain't mad at you because we don't know no better. We can't do nothing else until we're shown something else. If you know better, you'll show better. Okay? If you knew better, you'd do better. So what I have learned is that they lied. They say it's one thing and it's something else. Just like they told my old dude and my granddaddy. My old dude told me about this. He wouldn't talk to me much about they time doing that, but he did share this story with me, and I guess it was a precautionary tale. Basically, in short, and I've told this before too, in witchcraft and conjuring books, they will show the magician inside of the sacred circle, and they would say in the caption, you know, the magician stands inside the protective circle. They would lie and say that was to protect you, knowing good and well that they was giving you something to jam you up. Well, I maintain the same thing is going on with this Hebrew that we're being given. I don't care who the source is. Because I, in deliverance ministry, am not dealing with people who are jammed up from using some of them Hebrew names they was given. Now, Dr. Walter Veith even says that in his studies of it, he finds that Yeshua may actually be the Antichrist figure's actual name. So again, we've been lied to about the whole nature of the Y and the J and what came first and what sounded like what. We did a whole breakdown on that. It may serve you well if, you know, you want to jam real heavy about this, to look at that one, the name above, why they say what they say about the letter J. And in that one, you know, I felt casted some good doubt upon things that people were too sure about because they believed and trusted in their sources, or they didn't even question their sources, or really take a reasonable but Holy Spirit-led look at the motivation behind their sources. It's as if, you know, we're to believe that, well, you know, like the old idiom says, we that dumb. All you got to do is hide it in a book. You put it in a book, this Negro gonna find it. And the devil know that, so don't fall for that. No, it's bigger than that. You can't just, you know, get free from the books. Some people get bound by the books. You get bound by a box of books, you're going to be dumber than a box of rocks. Because again, you don't think about the publishing company, you don't think about the editing people, and you don't think about the writer and his affiliations. Masons. And at the end of the day, since they don't want to tell you the truth, then you can't use what scholars and academics and rabbis say is proof. They have an agenda. They have a motivation, a strong motivation to deceive you. Just like those who wrote the witchcraft books that my old dude was referring to. They owe. And if they can trade a soul for a soul, they are told they can get out of that stronghold that they're bound by. That's a lie, though. Just another way for them to drag one more soul with them, which would count that much more against them when it's time for them to be judged. Okay? You not only dragged yourself down into this pit once you realized it was a pit, and you were deceived and told, well, bring somebody else in exchange for you. And you did it. You actively became a devil on another level. But that's what we're talking about behind the scenes of those who provide these things. What things? The tools for you to learn the academic and scholarly way about God. Not by experience, not by having a personal, real relationship with God, where if one had that, God would show you the same things I just broke down to you like he showed them to me. Quit going so hard on people, Theodore, God would say. You messing with people's faith, Theodore, God would say. And finally, you're wrong, Theodore, God would show. Because in reading that man, Dr. Ken Olson's book, I happened to run across a name that I did not believe in and really did not know. Jesus, time and time again. The first time I came across it, that strong growling demon, growling with excessive bass, room-shaking bass. when I would run across the word Jesus, which was just a word to me then, when I would run across the name Jesus, the bass in his voice got treble-ish. It was as if someone had stabbed him. I ain't lying. Like it was that type of cry out for pain, cry out for help from pain. And it was at that moment that I was stunned and shocked and amazed by that. First of all, this is a supernatural experience beyond any other that I've ever had. First of all, that's going on, so that's shocking in and of itself. I'm such a curious cat, though. I'm kind of digging it on some level because I'm seeing stuff here. I'm seeing some mysterious stuff. It's happening to me. I knew I was special because I learned all the stuff that they hid from me in the books. I'm a special one. Get out of here. You're special ed. I thought I had it made. But ran across the name Jesus. And it didn't like it. Now, my mama did not raise a fool. Not a total fool. I got sense enough to know if something keep doing it. So I saw it was affecting this thing. So I said, well, let me just say it here. First of all, church folks will tell you, and this is wrong by experience. If you don't believe in the name, ain't gonna be no power in it. By experience, that's wrong. I ain't believe in it, and I said it, and it hurt the demon. That's a knockout blow. Did you hear me? Didn't believe in it, understatement. Taught against it, and said it, and it worked. Now the Most High True Living was giving me message right then and there. And I'm giving one to you. And peep it the same way I had to peep it. God don't never want you to get to the point where you think you know so much, you can understand him. You read this and read that, now you understand him? Psh, please. It's a real time, on time God, and God of change. I ain't talking about pocket change. I ain't talking about Obama change neither. That means an unpredictable God, not unstable, but you can't predict him. His ways are higher than our ways. Isaiah chapter 55. So we begin to think that, all you have to do is, if you study this, if you look in the Strong's Concordance, you see Ahaya, or you look in this, you see, okay, his name, according to the rabbi, was Yeshua, and then, some more Israelites come with a little bit deeper and say, well, wait a minute, there was no you, or there wasn't, and so we going in circles like Billy Preston around this piece. Wow. Missing the whole point, plan, and plot of the beast. Divide and conquer. Confusion. If God is not the author of confusion, who is? So there's confusion in that. Ain't no confusion in this. Jesus cast out demons. What about our Latin brothers named Jesus? What about them? Duh. You ain't never seen no fake Jew, last name Ben Yeshua? Man, get out of here, man. I've been down through this road. It was hard for me to accept what I'm telling you now because it defied my logic, which I can understand my logic and my reason. It's logical and reasonable. Brother Jay used to call the Most High the illogical one. I never understood. I thought that was so strange and disrespectful to say about the Most High. I said, Brother Jay is off his rocker. And with things that he may have been totally wrong and off his rocker about, I understand what was right about that. It's the Eurocentric way of thinking and the way of the linear logical mind and the bind of the left brain to think that you have to get it this way. Then that means you got to be intellectually or academically inclined. That means ain't no hope for the slow or the slow-ish. I'm slow-ish. I needed some help. He had to demonstrate for me. Did he not? And then, of course, for those with learning impairments, they can cash it in. No, man, his yoke is easy and his burden is light. That ain't right. That's Illuminati type thinking, 101. You don't know what we know, so you can't go where we go. So I hope we chop that up for the last time for a little while. For a little while. Okay? Trust me, I overstand Hebrew, Aramaic, I overstand cuneiform, I overstand much more about Arabic than you would probably believe. I overstand these things. And the tripped out thing to me about Arabic, Aramaic, and Hebrew was the similarities. So that should tell you something. If you're going to believe one thing about Arabic, do a little study of Arabic Hebrew files. And when I say that, I mean those who so in love with the nostalgia, the idea of, the old thing, You ain't supposed to do that neither. That's arrested development. You ain't supposed to be caught up in the past. When do you stop dressing like a b-boy? Okay, so at a certain point in time, your dress, your style of dress, all that should reflect the new place that you're in mentally. Y'all dressing like the Israelites dressed before Messiah stepped on the scene. So crispy and clean. Always in focus, slim and trim, neat. But y'all get the picture. All right, so I did just want to say that, just as a family thing, this ain't no formal teaching. Again, this is something I feel that now we can verbalize one to another. I can just speak this out. We don't have to go through no long and formal thing. Okay, we've done that. Got videos on that. All right, and remember, never have you ever seen me broadcast or heard me broadcast from my house. Not a single time. And you probably never will. This is Unplugging. Much love to you. I hope that something that they've tried to conceal has been revealed. In the authority of the name of our Messiah, Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the true and living. Shalom.